Hello everyone and welcome back to my true crime channel. I hope you're all well and having a good day. Today I want to talk about Dennis Davis, the witness that claims to have seen Brian Dirty Laundrie, and that Brian weirdly was asking for directions to California. Now I do believe Dennis's account. I do believe that he saw Brian, but what I did find weird is when Dennis reported this to the FBI and to the police, he referred to Brian as Brian Laundrie. Now, I believe Brian could be involved in the murder, potentially, of Robert Lowery. So what I'm now wondering is, did Brian tell Dennis his name? And did Brian give a fake name of Brian Laundrie, which is extremely similar to the name Lowery? Laura, only one letter difference. I do wonder, is Brian going under a fake identity? Has Brian potentially come up with the idea that he's now Brian Laundrie? I'd really love to know, did this guy just get Brian's name wrong when he called it in, or did Brian give him a fake name? I want to play you a video that's recently been released of Dennis talking about when he encountered Brian, and then after that I'm going to play you the 911 call just so you can hear it, because I feel Dennis is completely credible and I do believe that he really did see Brian. So I'll play you now this video that's recently been released, then the 911 call, and then I'll be back with you afterwards, guys, to give you my thoughts and views further.
Right, so can you tell me how you felt after you realized you saw Brian Laundrie the next day, that night, and what did you do? But tell me about Dog the Bounty Hunter also.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I was totally, I would say, jacked up. I mean, my heart was racing all night. I mean, I saw him at 12:30, and I couldn't go to sleep all night long. I mean, it was 7 o'clock in the morning. I was still wide awake, and I was going to start hiking that next day. So I was wide awake. In the hours following that, I started texting some family and friends, and just to kind of tell them, because I just couldn't believe it still. And one of my coworkers said, well, you should call Dog the Bounty Hunter. And he sent me his phone number. So I called, I got a voicemail, but I just left him a quick little voicemail. And then I was texting with my family, and I said, somebody reach out to Dog the Bounty Hunter, just kind of joking. And my wife did it. She posted something on Dog's website. And his daughter, Dog's daughter, followed up with my wife, and that's really how all the media attention started going. What I hear is that there were a lot of media sources that were kind of monitoring his website, and all of a sudden all the interview requests started rolling in.
And you told me earlier that you couldn't sleep after you saw Brian. Can you tell me a little bit about that feeling you had after you saw him?
Sure. Yeah, I mean,
murderer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I thought about it, it's like, hey, heck, you just, we're face to face with a murderer 15 minutes ago. And yeah, it's just like your heart jumped out of your chest when I saw that picture of him. And, I've never had a feeling like that before, and obviously never seen a murderer face to face. So it's quite a feeling. And like I said, it kept me up all night long. I mean, I couldn't go to sleep, because it was just like, wow, so pumped up, and I was ready to go catch the guy. I mean, I was like, I made 6 calls to law enforcement. I was like, somebody call me back, and so, that was kind of it.
And how about, you said you talked to Dog's daughter. How did that happen?
Well, of course, she was in communication with my wife, and then, my wife gave her my phone number, and she called, and she had a couple of questions for me. She wanted me, she wanted to understand what exactly happened. And then they sent me an audio clip, because they wanted me to hear what Brian sounded like, to make sure that the voice was the same too. Not just, face and everything, but the voice. And I agreed that it was him. And then last night, Dog called me also. And he wanted to hear firsthand, my account of the story and everything.
Is he going to include that in his, I think he's filming like a documentary or a show. Did he say that's going to be part of it, or?
He didn't say anything like that. It was really just, get to the details and everything.
Okay, so yeah, is there anything I should ask you that we didn't talk about?
Well, yeah, there's probably people that are out there that are doubting what I'm saying. I know there were people out there on social media that were being a little mean to my wife and on Dog the Bounty Hunter's website. And I just want to kind of tell people that, I didn't ask for this. I had, this was my 4th AT trip of the year. And, it's something that I love doing, coming out here and getting away in nature. I hate having my phone with me. I take a few pictures and do a couple of videos for my family. But, I ran into him and to Brian, and I really, believed that that was him. And I thought that it was my civic duty, to make the calls to the FBI and to 911 and to follow through with it to make sure that the Petito family, got the due justice that they deserve for their daughter. And so, I didn't want to have, a million phone calls and text messages, during my trip. But, I thought it was the right thing to do. So those people that doubt me, it's fine. They can doubt me. And, but I really believe what I saw. I'm not doing this for publicity or anything else. I really believe that it was him that I saw.
So you're saying you weren't asking for this. You were just on a hike with your friend. Tell me a little bit more about that, like what your plans were and if it was annoying getting all the texts and calls.
Sure. Yeah. Our plans were to come up here. I was driving up on Friday after work, and we were going to meet actually on Saturday morning. And so I got up to the Tennessee-North Carolina state line at around 12:30 a.m. on Saturday morning. And I had never been to the area, and I was actually going to park my car at Davenport Gap, the parking lot there. And when I pulled down there, I passed the parking lot, and so I had to do a 3-point turn to turn around. Dark, secluded country road. The Pigeon River is on one side and there's a mountain going up on the other. So I had to be real careful doing the turn. And as I was doing the turn, a car approached from behind me, and they kind of flashed their lights on and off. I took it as they were kind of saying, go ahead and make the turn. I'm back here, but go ahead and make the turn. And I did that. And then as I was coming back past the car, the guy stopped and rolled down his window and kind of waved at me. And that's when I started talking to Brian Laundrie. And, we had a conversation, and then, I ended up leaving there. I was going to spend the night there, but he was just weird acting. And I didn't know it was him at the time. So ultimately I met my friend the next day, and we started our hike. And yeah, it's been, kind of annoying getting all of the texts and all that. But as I said, it's kind of my civic duty. I thought, once I realized it was him, to follow through on that, not just to turn, an eye, a blind eye to it and move on. But I really thought that, it was the right thing to do.
So when you realized it was Brian, how'd you feel? Were you worried? Were you scared because you said you were alone?
Yeah. Well, when I first talked to him, before I knew it was him, I realized there was something wrong with him. He was acting very weird. I originally thought that maybe he was on drugs. And so I was originally going to spend the night in the parking lot right there at Davenport Gap. But after just seeing him, I was like, there's no way I'm staying here. If this guy comes back, he might want to do something bad. And so I took off. I got back on I-40 and I was headed west, and it kind of hit me. What if that was Brian Laundrie? And so I got off the first exit that I came to, and I pulled down and opened up my phone and looked on the internet for pictures of him because I didn't know what he looked like. And the thing that stood out when I saw Brian was he had this really dark beard and mustache. It was very thick but short. And when I got there and I was looking at the pictures, the first picture I saw of him, it was a portrait view of him, and he had that same beard and mustache, it was the same face. And I knew it was him. And I immediately started looking to see if I could find the number for the FBI. And so I was pretty sure right then and there. After I talked to the FBI, though, I got back on and I was looking at other pictures of him, and I saw a profile view of him. And of course, because when we were talking, our cars were parked side by side, and he kept on looking forward. He didn't look straight at me very much. And so I had that profile view of him. And when that profile view came up, my heart literally jumped. I was like, holy crap, there's no doubt in my mind that that was Brian. I even called the FBI back right then, and I was like, I was so, just hyped up, I guess, from looking a killer right in the eyes and then, realizing it was him that I had seen just 15 minutes ago. And I called the FBI again, and I told them, I said, that was really him. You guys have got to go, look. And, they took my information both times, but I didn't really hear back from them or anything.
Do you think he was really going to California, or do you think he was just having like an episode, like a mental breakdown of sorts, or?
Yeah, so, when I first saw him, I kind of thought that he was on drugs because he was acting really weird. But as I thought about it, I don't necessarily think he was on drugs because he was talking very clearly. He wasn't like slurred speech or anything like that. And it's what I kind of thought then is that, after a month of hiding out, after killing somebody that you supposedly loved, I mean, it's got to be just wearing on him. And for somebody that is, on the run to just go and stop some stranger and start talking to him about his girlfriend, I mean, that's just weird. And I think, yeah, mentally, it's probably getting to him.
Mm-hmm. And what did he say about his girlfriend?
Yeah. So when we first stopped and we were across from each other, it took him a minute to say something to me. And he said, "Man, I'm lost." And I was kind of thinking, well, I'm a hiker. Maybe he's a hiker. I was, trying to find that parking lot. And I said, well, I'm not from around here, but, where are you trying to go to? And he said, man, I've got to get to California. I wasn't really expecting to hear that. Here we are on the East Coast. And he said, my girlfriend and I got in a fight. And she called me and she told me she loves me, but I've got to go to California to see her. And I said, well, man, the I-40 is right there. You can literally take I-40 west all the way to California. And he kind of shook his head and he said, no, I'm just going to take this road to California. And the road that we were on is a little, 2-lane country road called Waterville Road. And you can't get to California on that road. But he started driving off, and that's when I left.
Did he have like a laugh, or was he dead serious when he said he's going to use Waterville Road to get to Cali? Or?
No, he was dead serious. I mean, he was, yeah. But, he was obviously, kind of out of his mind. But, yeah, he wasn't laughing. He was just, yeah, that's what I'm doing. And he left.
Can you describe the car a little bit, or do you notice a license plate, or was the car new or old?
Yeah, so when I pulled up there, it was definitely a pickup truck. I was sitting in my car, and he was up above me in a pickup truck. It was, it was 12:30 at night, and the only real light was the light from my headlights and his headlights out there. But it was definitely, I told the FBI it was a white colored truck. Maybe it could have been just some other light color, but I said it was a white truck, and I pegged it as a Ford F-150. I don't, I wasn't, going in trying to figure out what kind of vehicle it was or anything, but I thought it was a Ford F-150, and it was definitely a newer vehicle. It wasn't like an old beat-up truck or anything like that. It was a new truck. When we left there, when we went our separate ways, I definitely wasn't trying to get his license plate or anything. I wasn't planning on calling the police then. I had no reason to. So, I just kind of took off out of there because I didn't want to be around when he came back.
Yeah. Did he seem like nice, or was he just kind of a concerning character when you met him?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was nice in the fact that, he didn't have anything bad to say or he didn't act aggressive or anything. But, you could tell, he wasn't all there, that, there was something wrong with him. I almost was going to ask him if he was okay, but at that point I was just more worried about just getting out of there.
Yeah. You felt like a little uneasy about the situation, or you just wanted to get to bed?
Oh, it was uneasy about the situation, yeah. For somebody, the way he was acting and the things he was saying, it's just not what a normal person, pulls it over, stops somebody at 12:30 in the morning to start talking to somebody about. And so I was like, yeah, I've got to get out of here.
You got a bad vibe.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And Are you planning to talk to is the FBI going to see you in person, or how's that going to work moving forward?
Yeah. So I called the FBI 3 times, and I called 911 3 times. Yesterday, so that was Sunday night at 7 o'clock, I got a call back from one of the sheriff's offices in North Carolina, the one that got the 911 call. And the officer kind of informed me of what they had done, that they had talked to the FBI twice on Sunday. And they've made an offer to let me meet with the FBI either tomorrow or Wednesday, but they could set up a meeting with the FBI at that time.
Tell me about you're going to meet with the FBI, you said.
Yeah, I haven't confirmed that yet, but they've made the offer to meet with me. Like I said, I did speak with the local police office, sheriff's office in North Carolina. One of the things they told me is, and I was the thing that was the biggest disappointment to me is after 6 calls, no one had, from law enforcement had gotten back with me to hear my side of the story or the details from me directly. And so, but the detective that I spoke with on Sunday night was very informative. What he told me was, I placed the call to the North Carolina 911 system at 2:30 in the morning, and they had somebody out on site at 3:05. Basically, they had somebody out there for 50 minutes driving that area, and in that time they pulled over one person, the only vehicle they saw out there during that 50-minute time, to check him. It was somebody else. It wasn't even in a truck. It was a car. So I felt, relieved that they had, actually done something. I was glad to hear that. And the detective actually apologized because he said one of their rules for finishing out a 911 call is to make sure that the people that make the call are informed about what the outcome of the situation is. And so he apologized that his office hadn't done that. And but as I said, I have not heard directly from the FBI or from the Tennessee 911. I had called the Tennessee 911 system twice. But I probably will take the officer up, and he said he would bring the FBI to meet with me. So I probably will take him up on that offer.
When would you like to do that? Or when would you do it while you're up here, or maybe down in Florida? Or
yeah, I'm probably going to stay up here for a couple more days. So either tomorrow or Wednesday, I'm going to arrange to have do that.
Can you tell me a little bit? Were you able to see what Brian was wearing?
Well, what I noticed about him, in the photos of him, he's bald. I couldn't tell that because he had some sort of bandana or shirt wrapped around his head. And then, of course, I only saw him, because he was sitting in the truck, kind of, the top portion of his body. And it looked like he had on a T-shirt kind of with the sleeves cut off, and it was a dark color.
And did he look like he's seen like hard times in the recent weeks, or did he look totally well kept, maintained?
He looked fairly well kept. I mean, he didn't look like I look right now, having come off the trail. He looked fairly clean and well kept.
Is there anything else I didn't ask you that you think should be known or that could be added to this story?
Let me think. Not a whole lot. The incident itself was pretty short and sweet, so no, I think that's about it.
Haywood County 911, what's the location of your emergency?
Well, I'm on the highway right now, but I ran into Brian Lowery just a little while ago.
Okay, where did you see him at?
I was at the parking lot for the Appalachian Trail on the north side of Gracebrook.
Okay, can you tell me, was you at an overlook? Are you there?
Hello?
Are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Yeah, you're probably going through the gorge. You lose service every now and then. So where did you see him at?
On Waterville Road.
Okay. And just on Waterville, or did you see him near a house? Did you see a mailbox?
He was driving a truck, and I stopped and talked to him.
Okay. Was he going up Waterville or back towards 40?
He was going away from 40.
Okay. What color truck?
It was a white truck. I think it was a Ford F-150. I'm not 100% sure of that. And it was kind of a newer model. It wasn't like an old beater. It was a newer truck.
Okay. And what makes you say that it was him?
Well, first off, I was making a U-turn and in the road, and he came up behind me and he slowed down and kind of flashed his lights, like telling me, "Oh, go ahead and go, and I'm going to wait for you." And as I turned around and I'm coming back by him, he's waving his arm out of his truck, like for me to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
And I pull up next to him. I'm getting ready to go through the tunnel here. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I stopped and I was,
I think I lost you.
and he was talking wild. He said that his girlfriend loved him and he had to go out to California to see her. And he was asking me how to get to California. And I said, "Well, you can get on I-40 right there and drive west and you'll get there." And he said, "No, I think I can go this way," and kind of left. But he was acting funny. And I wasn't sure about what he looked like. And then I went and parked and pulled up the photographs of him. And I'm 99.99% sure that was him.
Okay. I'm going to let my sergeant know, okay?
Okay.
Okay, can I have your name and phone number? Okay. Well, like I said, I'm going to pass this along to my sergeant, okay?
All right. I'll meet somebody out there if they want to. I'm telling you, it was him.
Okay. Well, like I said, I'll pass this along.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to be really interested to know what you guys think about this. My personal opinion is that Dennis is telling the truth. I do think he saw Brian, but like I said before, I do wonder, did he just get Brian's name wrong, or did Brian give him a fake name? If he did give him that fake name, to me, it's quite bizarre that it's so close to Lowery, the name of the man that's recently been found dead. I'm going to be really interested to see whether it was a homicide. I really hope that Brian's not involved in the man's death, but I do wonder how many people could Brian, the dirty laundry, have killed, as I really don't believe it's just Gabby. I suspect there are many more. I do not detect deception from this witness. I believe everything he said. I do not think, like some people have claimed, that this man is looking for 15 minutes of fame. I don't buy that. I think he genuinely saw Brian. Perhaps all along he was hiding out on the Appalachian Trail. We all know that he spent at least 3 months there on his own before. He obviously can survive. But if it really was Brian, where did he get the vehicle? Is he still in the same vehicle? And is he really heading to California? Now, from what I can gather, there is more than one place in America called California. In fact, there are numerous places called California in America, not just the one famous one. Could it be the one in North Carolina, which is not that far from the Appalachian Trail? So which California is he actually heading to? Is it all a ruse? Is there really another girlfriend? I do wonder, was he referring to Gabby when he spoke of a girlfriend, even though Gabby is no longer with us? What on earth's he talking about? It's really interesting to hear that he seemed not all there, that there was definitely something wrong with him, that the witness at first thought he was on drugs, and then realised that something was wrong. And what I find really interesting is I think that man Dennis started to fear for his life, because clearly he wanted to get well away from Brian the Dirty Laundrie, and at that point he didn't even know it was him. It was only when he pulled over and looked him up on his phone when he thought, oh my God, I've just seen Brian Laundrie, and then he couldn't sleep all night. When he said he couldn't sleep all night, I felt really sorry for him. Imagine staring into the eyes of Brian Laundrie and then knowing you saw a murderer and knowing you had a very, very lucky escape. Well, as like you do, guys, I want that dirty laundry to be found. I think he's a disgrace. I think his sister's a disgrace. His parents are a disgrace. And this whole sad situation is also a disgrace. The sooner the FBI catch him, the better. And as I said in one of my other videos, I'd love for the dog to catch him. I'd love for the dog to kick his ass, although I'm sure he wouldn't actually kick his ass, but it wouldn't be such a bad thing if he did, hey. But the sooner he's caught, the better. This is dragging on now. He's been on the run for a number of weeks. I really hope he's going to be caught soon and that Gabby Petito gets justice. And if Brian has murdered other people, I hope that they're going to get justice too. Sooner or later, Brian the Dirty Laundrie is going to slip up, and he's going to slip up big time. If this really was him, he's already starting to slip up. Perhaps having no human contact or very little human contact is starting to get to him. Perhaps he's really starting to lose his marbles. I do wonder when he's going to explode. I hope that doesn't result in another murder. I'm really praying that that doesn't happen. But sooner or later, I do think he's going to make a major mistake. And I hope whatever that mistake is, it results in him being arrested. He really is a weird fugitive, really, when you think about it. He's only 23 years old. He's quite young. He looks like your average man. I mean, I've heard so many people have been pulled over or had their photo taken or a video taken of them because a member of the public thinks they're Brian Laundrie. That's so nice that so many people in America are on the look for this man, because the more people are looking for him, the sooner he's going to be caught. So I do wonder where Brian is heading next. I don't personally think he's on his way to California, whichever California that may be. I don't think he's on his way there. I really don't think he's heading to California. I do wonder if there's another girlfriend. I really wouldn't be surprised if there is, but it could all be a load of old rubbish. And as we know with Brian, he clearly is a liar. He clearly is a thief. And by the looks of it, he's also a murderer. Something I do hope is that when Brian's caught, if he did kill Gabby, which I believe he did, and his family have helped him cover it up, I hope the whole lot of them are off to prison very soon. I hope they get the key for all them dirty laundries, get that key and throw it as far away as they can. Well, anyway, guys, I want to know your thoughts and views. Do you find Dennis credible? Do you really think he saw Brian? Do you think Brian could be using a fake name? If so, like me, do you think that Brian could be using a very similar name to the man that was recently found dead in the state of Wyoming? Somewhere that Brian had not long ago been? The fact that Robert was found only around 40 miles from where Gabby was found, in a location that Brian had definitely visited. Apparently one of the hitchhikers that picked up Brian were told by Brian that he had recently hiked in the area where this man has recently been found dead. I have not yet heard whether it's being looked into as a homicide, and if it is, I really hope that Brian is going to be looked into. So please share your thoughts with me, guys. Pop your comments below. As always, I love knowing your thoughts. I love reading your comments. And I'm so happy that you take the time to share your thoughts with me. I want to know what you think. Do you find Dennis credible? I certainly do. And do you think that Brian's still on the run and that he's starting to slip up? He's pulling over people at 12:30 in the morning in the dark to ask for directions to California. And then when he's given them, he decides to drive up a different road that doesn't actually lead to California. Something's not right here. Clearly Brian, I think, is guilty of Gabby's murder. Clearly Brian is starting to lose his marbles. His mind is starting to escape him. And soon, I hope and I pray that he slips up big time and they bust his ass. Well, anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed my video today. I hope you will be joining me for my next one. I hope you're all taking care of one another. I hope you're having a great day. And as always, I'm going to be back with you all very soon for another true crime video. Bye for now.